PJ was on his radio show a little bit ago talking about a solution-driven program. What do you feel like the solutions are defensively coming out of Penn State?
Yeah, so Coach Rossi kind of sat down with defense this past weekend after the game, and today going forward, just kind of talking about what we need to do going forward, and the big point there was just kind of getting back to who we are. There's some stuff in that game and some stuff these past couple weeks that aren't isn't us, isn't our identity, and we talked about getting back to what we do best, and that's being doing your job, doing your responsibility, knowing what you're going to get, and executing your job when the time comes. And I think that's just kind of the baseline for what the emphasis is for us defensively, and just getting back on track and getting back to who we've been this season and the past years.
You had 2 3-and-outs and an interception in the first 3 series there. What do you feel? How did it get away?
I think it's just little things, little details. You go through that game and you go back and watch the film. And during the game, I would say personally, and definitely, being with the D line, the linebackers, there wasn't a point where we were like, we got to go do something superhuman or something's not working. Like that never crossed any of our minds, and that was never a thought. It was, adjust to what we got to adjust, what happened, get back into it, get back into what we do best, adjust wherever the issues are at. But it was just kind of one little thing or a detail with a guy or somebody, and that's something we take pride on. And then going back to that question, is that something we need to get back to, and being detailed and taking care of those little details.
How much do you believe in momentum, whether it's in the course of a game, the course of the season, whatever you would define it as?
Yeah, so I'll tell you that, like, culturally and as a team, we don't believe in momentum. Obviously besides like the physics part of it, but no, we don't believe in momentum in that aspect. And truly, like from a player standpoint, and my view before I was even in the culture with Coach Fleck, I thought that something like that was kind of like, why would people talk about momentum in terms of you have momentum or whatever you want to call it. And Coach Fleck kind of gave me that definition and understanding of why that really isn't a factor and why it doesn't really exist. And just because guys make plays. Your best players play their best, they make plays. Guys are detailed, guys execute their job, their responsibility. And you look at games where people say somebody has momentum, somebody doesn't have momentum. That usually comes down to guys executing responsibilities, and we often talk about winning games versus losing games, and most often teams don't really win a game, teams lose a game less. And I think if you want to look at something like momentum that people talk about, it's guys going through a game or going through their job and not executing that to a high level, right? Losing the game more than the other guy.
Does that mindset make it easier to just wipe the slate clean and say, here's Rutgers and here we go?
Honestly, I wouldn't give a yes or no answer to that question just because I don't really think about that. I mean, the thing we talk about is each week's its own week. We're right now 0-0 in the Rutgers week. We're game planning and offense and defensively to go 1-0 in that week. So.
We've talked about the pass rush for a few weeks now. As you guys are still having struggles getting home to the quarterback and getting him on the ground, what sort of things do you feel like you've been trying to do, and how are you trying to refine that as you still haven't been able to have the success?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, I would just say that we've had opportunities these past couple games with guys getting to the quarterback, getting some pressures, and obviously being able to finish those is key, especially in those situations with moments in the game where it can go one way or go the other, and you never want to see the next play after something like that. So I think that's a part of it, and I think that there's a part of just continuing to work on that, throughout weeks and practices, and just getting better at that. And I think that since from where we've come, we've definitely come a long way. And I'm proud to see the progress that the guys in the room have made. And I know that that's something that maybe isn't necessarily showing up on Saturday in terms of like guys want, how many sacks do you want to have a game, or what number do you put on that. But the process of what we've done over time, and to see where we were to where we've come, I'm proud of the guys in the room, and I'm obviously going forward. I want to make sure that that continues that way, and I think eventually, the process is right, that eventually it'll show up on game day.
Thomas, before the season started, every college football team has aspirations of playing in the college football playoffs and playing for a national championship. Obviously, that probably won't happen for you guys, maybe not a Big Ten championship. For you, the players inside the locker room, what's left to play for this season? What are you guys playing for?
Yeah, so I think, funny you asked that question. We kind of, Coach Fleck kind of has talked with the team about that, and something just for us, whatever people want to say about that, we have 5 games left with the season, right? And we kind of coined it this GFP, the Gopher football playoff for us. It's just like we're going to play these 5 games, starting with Rutgers being the most important one since it's the next, and just go one game at a time and continue our process. And in the end, we'll look up and see where we're at, and be happy with what we've done.
As a player, though, does it make it harder to go along and feel like things are, not as redundant or repetitive during the week when you don't have something big to play for, in a sense?
I think that there are a few types of mindsets you can come across with that, and I think our team possesses a mindset, and I think I can truly say it's with our team, and just knowing the guys in the locker room, and more specifically the guys on the defense. And how we come in each week and prepare. And I don't doubt 1 second that any of the guys in the room are any less disinterested, unmotivated, uninterested in any way for just coming in and getting ready to play another game. I think that you look at, you take that and you try and look in the future, and it's hard to, you kind of think about all that stuff, and it's hard to concentrate and just be a football player and have fun. And I think that's one of the ways, kind of going back to a couple of questions, just getting back to who we are and having fun, and just knowing that we're coming out to play a game, and you can't be any more grateful about that. And all the talk about what ifs and all that stuff, it doesn't really come across to me as something that is important in terms of this is the week that is important to me with this game. I got to do what I got to do to get ready. The rest of the guys in the room got to do what they got to do, and it's just the next game. And I think that that's how we've approached this season in terms of how we've gone along each week, win or lose. That game's in the past, Penn State, and the next game up is Rutgers, and we'll continue to do that, and then, like I said, in the end, we'll look up and just see where we're at.
Thomas, when you talk about your identity and getting back to that, is that more scheme thing, like where you've seen some particular plays that just weren't played right, or is it more attitude, kind of energy, confidence type stuff?
Yeah. I wouldn't say it's scheme at all. We had guys in positions and guys to make plays, and credit to what they did. They made plays too. They play the game just like we do, and they study and they prepare. So when you play a high caliber team like that can make plays, if you're like I said again, the details are the details, and if you're not detailed and know what you're doing about something or a particular spot or position, and those are the teams that will take advantage of that and make the plays when they count. And when you do enough of those, it becomes something that seems like it's a breakdown or something like that. But it's really just one guy, a step here, or one guy, not where he's supposed to be over there. But I would just say it's back to the details.
Time for 1 or 2 more for Thomas.
How have you seen Brev develop as a run blocker?
Yeah. So I will start with that by saying I remember my days back in 2021 when I would go against him and Ko Kieft. And I just remember both of them at the time, just, still getting into the groove of when I was playing, but Ko being just an absolute monster of a tight end, as he is and performing with the Bucs still is. And just Brevin working in and starting to pick up that identity from him. And that continuous progression throughout that season, I remember Brevin just continually getting better and going against him in practices and all, and any drills and one-on-ones and stuff like that, just continuously getting better. And then I come to this year, and I remember in fall camp, I can't remember what day it was, but we had a lot of plays just set up where I was going against him, like back-to-back plays. And I just remember feeling the same way I felt when I went against Ko, and like that strength and that violence that he had. And I just kind of sat there and I looked at him and just kind of smiled because I just was kind of taken aback at how much he's progressed and how amazing of a tight end he is in run blocking and obviously in the pass game too. He's a monster, and I looking forward to see what he's going to do in the future.
Did you relay that to him at all?
We have our special little talk sometimes in practice when we line up against each other, and we're like, yeah, here we go. I was like, all right, what's going to happen. So we just kind of embrace that with each other, and I have a great relationship with him. It's one of those things where you knock heads with each other, and then after the play, you look over at him and give him a high five or say good stuff, and you're back down for the next one. So I'm proud of him.
Anyone else have one more for Thomas?
What kind of lifted Ethan give your team? Feel?
Ethan is a tremendous player. I don't think that might be hard with the game, people viewing how it was, but just looking at him play that game, I was very impressed with his poise, his throwing capability, decision making, and just keeping everything under control and not letting the circumstance overwhelm him, become emotional, and just break down. So he definitely gave the team a leader, to be behind for that game. And I think going forward, he's shown he's very capable, and very capable of being a leader for this team too.
Grim, did you have one more?
Yeah, just generally, what do you see from the Rutgers offense?
They're a good offense. They're really good. They got three guys that play quarterback. They do what they do well, and I think that's just something that just gonna have to game plan in terms of being in your spot where you gotta be. And I don't think that, again, one single guy's got to do something superhuman. Guys got to do their job and execute their responsibility, and the game plan and scheme that Coach Rossi and the rest of the defensive staff has come up with is, really good, and I think we perfect that and come out Saturday and play at our best.
All right. Thanks, Thomas.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.